With about 2 months to go before the ultimate premiere of this year's most anticipated movie, and having already bought my tickets for this specific event on July 25th, I had to talk about what I think will be the major cameos coming to Deadpool and Wolverine. Now, this movie, for a fact, is gonna be one of the most, if not the most, anticipated movie of 2024. This movie has the potential to be a movie that makes over $1 billion. Now, what do I think it's gonna make its opening weekend? Well, I'm guessing over 180 to almost $200 million opening weekend. I think it's going to be a explosive success. You know, it has all the elements to do that. And it also has the fact that we are going to get absurd amount of cameos in this movie. And I have to run by you guys the ones that I think are more likely to show up in this movie. So let's start off with the very first, this is probably the most obvious answer to this entire thing, and that is that we are gonna get Monica Rambeau in this movie. We're gonna get Monica Rambeau in this movie because we know for a fact, we've watched the Marvels, we know that Monica Rambeau is in a universe where we have the X-Men. So the probability of her showing up in this movie is extremely high, and I think that she will most likely be the very obvious answer as to who is going to show up in Deadpool and Wolverine. Next up, I think that this is probably another obvious answer, and I think Wong is definitely going to be showing up in this movie. He is Sorcerer Supreme due to a technicality. We all know the story, but he is Sorcerer Supreme, so I think it would be smart for them to add Wong. Wong shows up in pretty much anything nowadays. He shows up in She-Hulk, he shows up in Doctor Strange in Multiverse of Madness, he shows up in No Way Home, he shows up everywhere. So I really do believe that he is going to show up in this movie. Now, another contender for this, very chaotic movie would be Thanos. I know, it sounds crazy to mention Thanos, being that we already know that this guy has died not once, but twice. Yes, the Avengers have officially killed Thanos twice already, and that isn't to say that we can't get Thanos again. I just don't think that this time it's gonna be something along the lines of, oh, Thanos has returned, like a, Palpatine situation. No, there's gonna be a narrative reason as to why Thanos comes back. And in part, I think, after we hear from Deadpool that he is now Marvel Jesus, I think he is the one who's gonna save the MCU. I think Deadpool is the one who's going to save the MCU, and he's going to travel into Endgame at that very end of Endgame, where Iron Man is with the gauntlet in his hand, and instead he is going to take on the responsibility of making the snap and making sure that Iron Man is still there and survives. So, I think it's a possibility. I think it's a genuine possibility that this happens. That we do get, apart from that, if we're already going back to Thanos, we get Robert Downey Jr. as well, because why not? Robert Downey Jr. should be in this movie, because we're gonna see him kind of struggle with the glove, and then Deadpool is gonna take that glove off of him and do the snap himself and say a funny line, because we're gonna definitely need a funny line from him right before he snaps. He would be the right person to snap anyway, because if he gets burnt, he can just regenerate, skin. So that makes even more sense. If he snaps, he doesn't die. If he snaps his finger, he doesn't die. He just regenerates back his arm, right? He would save the MCU in the process, because then we would have Robert Downey Jr. back, obviously, which would be great. And in the same vein as bringing him back, why not bring Captain America back? Chris Evans. Chris Evans would be great to come back and do Captain America. But since this is a Deadpool movie, and we know that this is going to have some sort of comedic connection, they should bring him back as Human Torch. Like, imagine, Chris Evans just comes out of a portal, and instead it's him as the Human Torch. And everybody's like, oh my god, Captain's on fire, like, that would be hilarious. That would be, like, memeable moment of the year if they did that. So that would be very, very cool to see him come back and do that. Now, we all saw in the trailers a sling ring portal opening up. Now, I did mention Wong can be in this movie, but we could also get Doctor Strange in this movie as well. I mean, if you're gonna open up portals to other dimensions, he kind of would be the perfect person to show up, right? I mean, who better to kind of teach us the ways of navigating the multiverse than him? So, yeah. And we could also throw Charlize Theron in the mix too, because we saw Multiverse of Madness, and we know that he caused an incursion, so this would be an opportunity to see both of them showing up in this movie. So that would be really cool, right? Now, here is another one that I'm going to throw in there that is a bit of a toss-up. This is a toss-up. This is more of like a 50-50, like, could have a heavy toll or no toll at all, but this is like my total opinion here. Blade could pop up in this movie, and I don't think it's the Wesley Snipes version. I think it could be the Mahershala Ali version. Mahershala Ali has been, the namesake now for Blade for a very long time. I think when he was announced to be Blade, it was probably like 2018 or 2019, I believe, that he was going to be Blade. It's been like almost 6 years, and we haven't had a single anything about Blade. So it would be really cool for him to just pop in to this movie and be kind of like helping out Deadpool in a small, situation. Maybe as a quick little cameo, maybe, less than 2-3 minutes into this movie. 2-3 minutes in the movie, I should say. He pops up and does his thing. Now, the next one that I'm going to mention is also a toss-up, but there is a narrative proof scenario that I can kind of attest to, and that is the fact that we already have like set footage, and we also have a clip of like a shot from the movie where we see the truck that was used in Moon Knight. So there is a great possibility that we see Oscar Isaac pop up in this movie as Moon Knight, and we kind of already have confirmation that he was going to pop up sooner rather than later in the MCU, and I think in that scenario it's more than likely going to be because of this right now. Like, because of this movie is how we're going to be getting Moon Knight in the MCU, in an MCU movie, I should say. So definitely keep an eye out for that, because I do believe we will be getting Moon Knight in this movie. Now, this next one sounds like a toss-up, but it won't be a toss-up, because I am almost certain that this is going to happen. Now, we all know that this movie is going to involve time travel in some sort of way, because there is a freaking clip, there's a photo of Deadpool, and I'm going to show you I'm going to show you the photo right now. Boom, right here on the screen. Do you see what Deadpool has in his hand? He has a temp pad, which means he can travel back in time, forward in time, or to whatever point in time he wants to, and just open up a portal and just go there. And that opens up for something really interesting, because this next guest that I have could very well be the product of one of those things. And I think that we may get Bucky Barnes. And in that last shot that I showed you of the truck, I'm going to zoom in really closely into that passenger seat of that truck, okay? That right there kind of looks like Bucky Barnes, okay? Just like, I'm going to show you a different angle, okay, that someone took, like a paparazzi took, and I'm going to zoom in to that truck. Tell me that doesn't look like Bucky Barnes, because that looks very much like Bucky Barnes from the movie, from Winter Soldier, like with the mask on him. Like, this is the type of thing Deadpool would do. He would just go back and grab somebody from like a different point in time just to make a point that this guy's badass. And I feel like there's a comedic reason, because he can make jokes about the metal arm any day. I mean, there's a lot of dirty jokes they can make about a metal arm. That's all I'll say. I mean, you can do a lot of jokes with that alone. So I think that we may get Bucky Barnes from Winter Soldier in this movie, and that would be freaking hilarious. So I have officially left this one for last, because there has been specific moments throughout the marketing of this movie that has been posted on a specific account that leads me to believe that we will be getting, in some way, shape, or form, Loki in this movie. I have a very strong feeling that Loki will pop up in this movie. Maybe for a 5-minute cameo, or for someone who's gonna pop in to just tell people like, hey, just to let you guys know, I'm in control here. So whatever you guys do, just don't go out of hand. So that allows for more effect. And if we're gonna go as far as to say that Loki is in this series, it wouldn't be too far off to say that maybe we will get, hint hint, Mobius. We may get Mobius. I think Mobius could show up in this series. The fact that we have like time traveling superheroes, that could be a very interesting dynamic we get there of, you know, Mobius kind of helping out Deadpool and Wolverine navigate the TVA. Even though I don't know if this is the same TVA that we see Loki in. This could be a very different TVA. But it could be a very interesting scenario where we put him in a completely different universe, in a completely different TVA, and have like alternate versions of characters in there. So that would be a very cool idea indeed, to have Mobius and Loki pop up in this really wild movie. Now, do I have some honorable mentions that I think could very well pop up in this movie, even though it's not a movie that surrounds these characters or revolve around these characters, but could very well pop up in this movie. I think in general, we can agree that we could get all the Avengers in this movie, which would be freaking wild. like all the Avengers popping up in this movie would be wild. We already know that the X-Men are going to show up in this movie, because this is a very much a love letter to the X-Men and to fans of X-Men. And I think we may get Ravonna Renslayer. We know that Ravonna Renslayer kind of, was pushed and pruned into this, completely different world, the Void, actually. And that would be very interesting, too, because we could actually utilize Ravonna Renslayer in a way that, this new guy who is now sitting in Ravonna's chair, because she's gone and now this guy has kind of taken over, Ravonna Renslayer could be the one to kind of like help guide them through the TVA in a way. And this could also be a nice little way of Ravonna getting her free will back in a way, right? Like that would be pretty freaking weird, but that's something that we could see in this movie. I don't think we're gonna get Kang though. A lot of people would say Kang would pop up in this movie, but I doubt this movie is gonna have Kang involved in anything. So yeah, I'm kind of like on the fence about it. So maybe we get it, but I don't know. Let's see what they say. Let's see what kind of reaction people are gonna get from this movie, getting closer to it. We know that marketing is not over for this movie. There's another 2 months ahead of us for this movie, but I think that being prepared and being ready to get this thing off the ground and get this movie rolling is going to be very fun. And man, just the possibilities are endless here. I mean, Ryan Reynolds is a creative beast when it comes to giving fans what they want. And I think that he is convincing enough to say, like, okay, listen, we're going to do this. We're going to get it through, and we're going to push through this. And I mean, just the fact that Disney was open enough to make this movie an R-rated movie is already like worlds ahead, and I think that this movie will easily make $1 billion or more in its theatrical run, because people have been wanting this for a very long time. And I bought my tickets within 10-15 minutes after they were on sale. And just so you know, my local theater was very close to being sold out, so I was lucky enough to get tickets. But being that I got tickets at a specific time that could not possibly not have more people, could be an issue. But I believe that I just am just grazing, very ever so slightly grazing the very top of this very deep, ice structure glacier, this crazy movie that is going to be this movie. I mean, we're just scratching the surface of how crazy this movie is going to be, and I just can't wait to see this in theaters. Now, if you guys want to give me your opinions as to who is going to pop up in this movie, your theories, your suggestions, go down in the comments below and tell me, because I really want to know. I want to know what kind of opinions you guys have for who is going to pop up in this crazy movie. And if they do pop up, that would be really cool, because then I can reference people who put their stuff down below. And maybe after the movie, we'll do a spoiler video talking about specifically who got what right, and maybe even we could talk about, the future of this channel and prizes that we could possibly make for you guys to receive out there. So, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Leave down below your suggestions, and while you're down there, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell to be notified when new videos go live on this channel. I know I rambled on for over 20 minutes now, But thank you again for watching this video to the very end, and I'll see you in the next video.
Scrolling through YouTube, same old routine, then bam, movie savant, what a scene. Trivia bombshells dropping knowledge like rain. Forget the dishes, gotta watch it again. Movie buffs unite, savants to place. Subscribe and hit the bell, don't leave a trace. Next level knowledge keeps you in the loop. Savants got the scoop, ain't nothing to recoup.